Hello everyone, Catweazle here, welcome to the channel and welcome back to our brand new playthrough, which is Darkest Night 2nd edition, where we're just about to start gameplay in episode 1. Just before we do, let's have a quick recap of what heroes are going to take on the Necromancer. We have Zhulana, the Channeler. We have Castigan, the Crusader. We have Vidya, who is the Seer, and we have Thorne, the Druid, and they are going to do battle very shortly. So what we'll do is we'll go across to our heroes and we'll see what they are going to do. So, time for the hero phase. And here we are at the hero phase. And round 1, our first player is going to be Castigan, the Crusader. Well, what's he going to do? This should be quite quick because the start of the game, it's you haven't got that many options. You're in the monastery, and generally what everybody's going to do is move, because if you don't move out of the monastery, you can't get a lot done. So that's what Castigan is going to do. Now, where is he actually going to move? Well, he's going to move to the village. The reason I'm moving into the village is he's our best face puncher. And because of the way that the board is set out, the village is right in the middle of the board, and it actually sees most of the Necromancer traffic. The Necromancer spends a lot of his time in the village because he's crisscrossing from one side of the board to another. Consequently, the village ends up with quite a few blights. So if we want to keep the blights down, sending somebody to the village is a good idea. So why don't we send our best face puncher? So that's where Castigan is going to go. He's going to go into the village and he's going to try and keep the blights down there. So that is what he is going to do. So we'll flick over his player turn token and he will go to the village. So let's get back to the board and let's do that. And here we are back at the board. So let's chant our mantra as regards the hero turn. Remember, it's Castigan. So at the start of his turn, we've got to check whether the Necromancer is there. The Necromancer isn't there. He is over at the ruins. Plus the fact we're in the monastery and the Necromancer can't go in the monastery anyway. So we're fine there. Now, we've also got to check if any of our power cards have start of turn effects. Well, we haven't used any yet, so we can skip that as well. And normally what we do now is we would draw an event for Castigan. But again, we are in the monastery. If you're in the monastery, you don't draw an event, so we skip that as well. Then we move to what action we're going to take. So there are several actions that you can take. You can travel, you can meditate, you can hide, you can use a card action, you can attack, you can retrieve a holy relic, you can search, or you can pray. But it's the start of the game, so what we're going to do is we're going to travel. We need to get out into the world and we need to start looking for holy relics, for clues, you know, keeping blights down, all that sort of stuff. We're not going to do that if we stay skulking in the monastery. So we are going to take a travel action. So Castigan is going to move into the village. He's our face puncher. In all probability, we're going to get a lot of blights in the village because it's the most central location. So let's put him there, trying to keep those at a sensible level. The last time I played this game, just got tons and tons of blights in the village, so I'm going to try and keep those down. Plus the fact the village is right next to the monastery, so if Castigan needs to recuperate and get some grace back, he can always just pop back in there. Right, what normally happens when you move is you gain a secrecy. So he's gained a secrecy, but we have a flux cage. And what happens with a flux cage is you lose a secrecy when you enter or leave a location that has got it. So that secrecy we gained, we lose immediately. Now, this is a blue bordered blight. And that means we don't have to defend against it. The blight's just there, it's took a secrecy off us, we don't have to defend against it because it doesn't actually attack us. Yes, we can attack it to get rid of it, but we've already used our action this turn in moving, so we can't attack it this turn, it'll have to be done next turn. But we don't have to defend against it, it's already took a secrecy off it. Offers. Now, if it was a yellow bordered blight, that would make it a monster, you know, like zombies or skeletons, something like that. Then we would have to defend against them because they would attack us. But as it stands, we've moved into the village, we've lost a secrecy, but that is offset by the secrecy we gained by moving. So net gain, net loss is absolutely zilch. That is it for Castigan. So next up, our next player, I think, will be the seer, Vidya. And here we are with Vidya. What are we going to do with Vidya? Well, first of all, she's going to take a turn. So we'll pop that token over. She is going to travel as well. She's going to go to the mountains. The reason she's going to the mountains is that takes her at least 2 regions away from the Necromancer. So the Necromancer won't be able to get to her. And I want to use her Dow's ability. And the mountains is pretty good for getting mysteries. Yep, getting mysteries will get us clues. So let's try and find a mystery. And if we use her Dow's ability, that means we don't even have to roll for a successful search. So let's get searching and let's try and find something. Let's try and find a mystery, and then we can start picking up clues with any luck. So that is what she is going to do. What we've got to remember is with the Prophecy of Fortune and the Prophecy of Forks, it doesn't particularly kick in on this turn because it's the first turn, but we'll have to make the decision in future who we're going to give these bonuses to, if we're going to give the bonuses to anybody. So it may be that Vidya will be going first most of the time from now on. If she's got any of these prophecies that she can use on other players, then let's do it. If she goes first, then we can always make a decision about which particular player we're going to give a bonus to. And then we can use these nice little activation tokens that she's got. So that's it for Vidya. She is going to go to the mountains. So let's get back to the board. And here we are back at the board. So what are we going to do with Vidya? We're going to travel. So let's check out the hero turn. First of all, is the Necromancer present? No, he isn't. He's in the ruins. Secondly, have we got any power cards that we need to take into account? No, we haven't used any. That's fine. We can ignore that. We can ignore an event because we're in the monastery. That means we just get on with our action. And our action is going to be a travel action. We are going to the mountains. So she goes up here to the mountains. Now, normally you get a secrecy for that, but she's at a default secrecy already, so we won't get any extra. We do have a blight. It is a void blight. It counts as 2 blights, but it has no effect. It's not a yellow blight, so it doesn't attack us. We don't have to defend against it. All it does is sit there and count as 2 blights because it's bloody annoying. It's 7 to defeat. We can't attack it this turn anyway, but even if we could, there's nothing that we can do about it because we can't generate 7 on a 6-sided die yet. We haven't got a +1 bonus. So it's a good job we've sent Vidya up there just to search. So she's just going to search next turn. She's going to try and find a mystery or something else, which is really, really helpful. So she's up there in the mountains. That is it for her turn. Next up is Thorne the Druid. Let's pop across to his player area and see what he is going to do. And here we are with Thorne. So first things first, let's pop that over because he is taking his turn. What is he going to do? Well, we're actually going to send him to the forest. There's a nasty blight in the forest. It's an omen, and it normally means that you've got to pick out 2 events. But he does have visions. So that will help us when it comes to picking those two events, we should be able to get rid of the nastiest one. So we're not going to, well, it means we don't have to take an event, basically. So we're going to get two. One of them is going to be particularly nasty, because remember, we've got to pick the higher one. So we will pick the higher one, we'll discard the other one, and then we'll play Visions and get rid of that nasty card. I love it when a plan comes together. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to move him to the forest. He's going to use Visions to dodge that horrible event next turn, and I think he will have a search as well. The forest is also pretty good for finding mysteries, so we'll send him down there. As I say, the blight down there is an omen. That just causes you to gain 2 events. So for the time being, we will leave it there while Thorne is in the forest. He'll be able to dodge that nasty blight effect and hopefully find something useful. After that, we'll have to look to get rid of that particular blight because it is a particularly nasty one. But as it stands, at the start of the game, we can sort of dodge it a bit, and that's what we're going to do. Let's get back to the board. And here we are back at the board, and hero turn. We've got no Necromancer. We haven't played any power cards, so we don't have to bother about that. We're in the monastery, so no event. So it's just our action. We are going to move. We move into the forest, and that is pretty much the end of it for our turn. Having a look at the blight, it's blue blight, it's not going to attack us or anything, we don't have to defend, it just means that when we start next turn we are going to have that extra event. We pick the one with the higher fate, discard the other one, and then we're going to use his Visions card because weird, like sneaky like that, and hopefully he will be able to get a search in before we look to actually get rid of that omen blight. So that is what Thorne has done this particular turn, and that means we only have one hero left, and that is Zulana. Let's pop across to the player area. And here we are with Zulana. So let's pop that across. She has taken her turn. And yes, what exactly is she going to do on that turn? Well, she's going to travel as well. And she's also going to travel to the mountains. We want to double up on our chances of getting a mystery or a quest or some kind of useful item. So we'll send her up there with Vidya. And it also means she's still 2 regions away from the Necromancer, so that will be cool. Now, normally through travelling you'd get an extra secrecy, but she's already at default. Forgot to mention that with Thorne just a moment ago, but yes, normally you'd get a secrecy, but he's at his default, so he didn't. And exactly the same for Zhulana. She'll travel to the mountains. Normally you'd get an extra secrecy, but she is at her max as it stands at the moment. We're not going to play any power cards. We'll look to play those once we are actually in a position to use them. So Astral Surge, though it's very good, if we exhausted it now, we're only travelling, so it'd just be a waste of time. Let's wait till we actually do some searching, and then those bonuses will kick in. So that is it for Zulana. Let's get back over to the board and do her move. And here we are back at the board. So Zulana also goes to the mountains with Vidya, and exactly the same to Vidya. She don't have to deal with that void blight. It's just there being horrendously annoying. So that is it. She has done her travel. Obviously, exactly the same thing as for everybody else. She didn't have to bother with the Necromancer. She didn't have to bother with power cards. She didn't get an event because she started in the monastery, and her action is just travelling. And at the end of the turn, normally she would have got a secrecy for travelling, but she's at her max, so that doesn't happen. Okay, and that is it for our first set of hero turns. But just before we finish the round, yes, it's the Necromancer's turn. And here we are, the Necromancer. He's here in the ruins. Okay, let's go through the Necromancer's turn. Now, are there any heroes at the same location? No, they are not, so that is fine. We can skip that. What we can't skip, however, is the darkness moves up by 1, I'm afraid. Dun, dun, dun. It has begun. So we've moved the darkness up by 1. Now, we'd add 1 for any desecration blights that were on the board, but there aren't, so that's fine. We've missed out there. And are there any quests? There are no quests on the board. If there were, we'd add a timer to them, but there are not, so we can skip that. Then what we've got to do is we've got to work out where the Necromancer is going to go. And to do that, we need to roll a die. So the purpose of this die is twofold. If he rolls high and he exceeds anybody's secrecy, he will spot them. He will know where they are and he will try to move towards them. If he doesn't exceed anybody's secrecy, then he'll just take the number off the die and he will use these icons here and he will move according to those. So we're going to do that now. And he rolls a 2. Nobody has got less than 2 secrecy, so all he's going to do is he is going to look at the board and there is a die icon here with 2 dots on it, so that means he is going to move to the swamp. So he has moved into the swamp. That is okay for us because it means none of our heroes are at the same location, so that's pretty cool. However, when he does move into a new location, he does drop a blight, so that means we need a map card. We flick it over and we look to swamp and we get skeletons in the swamp. So let me dig those out, won't be a moment. And here we are with a skeleton blight. So they're 4 to defend against and they are 4 to elude. If you fail, you lose a grace. If you're attacking them, you need to get a 5. So if you get a 5 or a 6, you will defeat them. If you don't defeat them while you're attacking, guess what? You lose a grace. So let's pop this guy in the swamp with the confusion. So there are now 2 blights in the swamp. Not good. Not good. And the bad thing about the swamp is it's the furthest away from the monastery as well. It's the ruins, the swamp and the castle are the furthest away from the monastery. So if you start losing grace in these areas, if you get low on grace, it's really difficult to get back to the monastery. So we'll have to bear that in mind. We can get rid of that now, the map card. It has served its purpose. And next up, what do we do after movement? Well, we've created the blight and that is it. There's only 2 blights in the swamp. If there were already 4 blights in the swamp when we created that one there, that would have been the 5th one and it would have gone into the monastery. But it's only the 2nd one, so we're fine. So that is the end of round 1. We have got an extra blight in the swamp. We've moved out all of our heroes. We've got 2 in the mountains, we've got 1 in the village, and we have got 1 in the forest. So, okay, up to now. So let's start round 2, and we'll see what our heroes are going to do next. And here we are at round 2 and our first player is going to be Vidya. So what is she going to do? Well, she's going to be using her douse action when she searches, but before then, because it's the start of her turn, she's actually going to use the Prophecy of Fortune here. So we're going to exhaust at the start of any hero's turn. We're going to exhaust it now because we're using it for Castigan. Yeah. So when we get to Castigan, the Prophecy of Fortune will be exhausted. And that hero, Castigan, will get +1 die on all rolls for his turn. The way that I actually exhaust cards is just because obviously using this sort of card holder, is I just flick them forward like that. So Castigan is going to get the bonus of the Prophecy of Fortune. Other than that, oh, we've got to pop that over. So we'll take this active token and we'll put that on Castigan so we know that he has got a bonus in operation. So we'll put that on his card. Yeah, we're going to use dows when we're actually searching, so I will exhaust that when we come to it. Other than that, everything seems great. We're not moving anywhere. That is it for Vidya. So let's get across to the board. And here we are back at the board, and there is Vidya in the mountains. So let's find out what she's going to do, but first of all we've got to check if the Necromancer's there. He is not, so we don't lose any secrecy. We've got no power cards for start of turn effects, so we can ignore that. We do, however, have to have an event. We are no longer in the monastery, so we'll pick an event card, and these are normally pretty bad. And we've got Ritual, which has got a fate score of 6. This is going to be really bad. That is bad. So what have we got here? We've got like a pentacle surrounded by candles. You may spend 1 grace and lose 1 secrecy to cancel this event. Count the blights in your location. Well, we've got a void, but that counts as 2. Great. So if we didn't have a blight, the Necromancer had moved there. That's bad. 1 to 2. So we've got 2 because of the void blight. We get a new blight there. I'm not particularly keen on that. And 3, we'd have got +1 darkness. So at least we avoided that. As you draw closer, the chanting reaches a crescendo. They haven't seen you yet. Can we afford to take another blight? I think because it's the start of the game, we're going to lose the grace and lose the secrecy. So that's going to put us down to 5 secrecy, which is still pretty good, and 3 grace, which isn't so good. But yes, because it's the start of the game, I think we're not going to get another blight up here. I want to do some searching. I don't want to be messing around with a load of horrible blights. So yes, we will take the grace hit and the secrecy hit. So we go down to 5 secrecy and 3 grace, sorry. So we'll discard that. Well, that was horrendous. Right, we've moved the secrecy and the grace down. What's she going to do now we've had the event? Well, we can do our action. And the action that we're going to do is douse, so we're going to use a card action. Exhaust to draw 1 search result for your location without rolling dice. So we'll exhaust that. And we draw a map card. And we'll flip this over. Look at the mountains. Unfortunately, we don't get a mystery. We get, I think that's Stardust. It is Stardust. And what happens is we will immediately, this is good, we will immediately reduce the darkness by 1. So it's a pity we didn't have 3 blights. We could have took the hit for the +1 darkness and then immediately knocked it back. But that's not what we wanted. We did actually want mysteries, because we need mysteries to get clues. But moving the darkness trap back to 0, that'll do. And that is it, I think, for Vidya's turn. The blight that's in the location has no effect. We don't have to defend against it. So I think we are okay. Yes, that is it. So not too good. We managed to knock the darkness track back, but we did lose a grace and a secrecy. So, events. You've just got to love them. Okay, so that's it for Vidya. Our next player is going to be Zhulana. So let's get across to the player area. And here we are with Zhulana. So let's pop that across, because she is taking her turn now. What she's going to do is search. I think early on in the game, let's get some searching in. So because she's going to search, she hasn't got dows, so unfortunately she's going to have to roll some dice. And because she's rolling dice, what we're going to do is we're going to use her bonus card here, Astral Surge. Exhaust at any time until your next turn, +1 die on all your rolls, and your powers have their astral effect instead of their normal effect. So she'll at least get +1 die to search with. Other than that, I don't think she's going to use any of her other powers. We will leave that. But saying that, we may have to use them depending on what our event card is. But at the moment, we're not going to use any. Right, so that's her prepared for her turn. So let's get back to the board and see how it pans out. And here we are back at the board. Here's Zhulana. I've just moved Vidya out of the way because we're searching, so just so we can see the search difficulty here, which is 4. But before we get to searching, obviously we've got to go through the turn in order. We've got to check if the Necromancer's there. He is not. We don't have any funny business with starting powers at the beginning of the turn. That's fine. So we get straight into the best part, which is the event card. Not. So let's see what we've got. We've got Raid. This is another nasty one. Look at that. 6 fate. And obviously there's a load of bad guys running at you with various pieces of farming equipment. Count the blights in your location. Well, we've already done this. We know there's 2. If it had been 0 to 1, we'd have lost 2 secrecy. Oh, this doesn't look good. 2 to 3, lose a grace and a secrecy. Again. 4+, it'd have been +1 darkness. The dead are seldom organised. When they are, it's not good. You're telling me about it, and look at that. We don't even get any sort of way of getting rid of it. We are just stuck with it. So she loses a grace and a secrecy. So we've lost a lot of grace and secrecy this turn. So she goes down to 5 secrecy and 3 grace as well. So she ends up exactly the same as poor old Vidya. The mountains are not good for our heroes at the moment. Right, so that's it for the event. Now she's going to do her action and she's going to search. So the search difficulty is actually 4. Now she's going to have to roll, but remember she does have her astral surge in place, so she gets +1 die. So that's going to be 2 dice, and we need to get a 4 or better. Come on, Zulana, let's be having it. Ooh, just got a 4. We got a 4 and a 3, so that's just good enough. So we pick another map card, and let's see what we get. The mountain, yes, we get a mystery. Yes, that's what the open book symbol means. So we do get a mystery. So let's pick a mystery card from here and see what we get. Sacred Glade. Legends speak of a local glade that was once used for sacred rituals. It is likely that some power still sleeps there. Excellent. 1 clue. Brilliant. It's in the forest, and that is down where good old Thorne is. So this could be very useful. As you can see, when it does actually state where it's going, you get a little icon. So, +2 clues if 5+ rolled while searching here. Permanent. Once this task is complete, heroes may pray at this location. Very good. So we've got the Sacred Glade. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab one of these little holders. I'm going to pop that in there. And we'll put that over here. So we know we have the Sacred Glade down there. That is really, really good. Excellent. So we have got our first mystery, which is good. So even though Zulana lost a secrecy and a grace, which isn't ideal because that horrible event, she did succeed at her search, so that was cool. So let's get ourselves on the board as regards clues. Woohoo! Right, that is it for Zulana. Next up, it is Thorne the Druid. Let's pop across and have a look at his player area. And here we are with Thorne. So we'll flick his token over because it's now his turn. And what we got to remind ourselves about Thorne. Yes, he's going to use his vision. So when we get to the event part of the turn, we are going to exhaust that so he doesn't get an event. Then he's going to search. Remember, we have just got that mystery. which has gone to the forest, which is very useful. So we'll try and search. If we get a 5+, we will get an extra 2 clues. So that will be excellent. We can only use that once, I believe, because it had a key icon. But those 2 clues will help us. They will get us up to 3. And that will be amazing. Assuming that we manage to do that, then we will finish our turn. I think when we search, I think we only get the 2 clues, I think. I don't think we'll get the reward for searching as well. I'll check that just before we get over there, though. Okay, so that is it for Thorne. Let's get over to the board and get on with his turn. And here we are with Thorne. And just before we get into his turn, I just want to go through Sacred Glade quickly again. Just the top bit here. We did actually get a clue for actually getting the mystery. Yeah, so we got 1 clue, whatever. So I've moved the clue track up by 1. Just to explain that. And we get +2 clues if we roll a 5+ on a search. We still get to draw a map card and whatever we find. Yes, so whatever we find in the forest, if we roll a 4+, because I think it's 4+ to search in a forest, that's the search difficulty. Yes, it is. So if we rolled a 4, we'd still get the map card and whatever was on that card. But if we roll a 5+, in addition to the map card and whatever's on the map card, we also get 2 clues. And what the key symbol means is we put a key on here if somebody picks up the 2 clues, because you can only do it once. So it's just to say, right, this top bit's been done. Once this top bit has been done, then the task is complete and heroes can pray at this location, which is really good, because then you can do things like get grace back and stuff. So it's always good to have another region in which you can pray in. So that is the Sacred Glade. I'll just put it back to our friend Thorne's turn. First of all, we've got to check if the Necromancer's there. He isn't, that's fine, we don't have to bother about that. He's got no start of turn powers on his cards or anything that he has to do, so we can skip that as well, and it's get straight into the event. Remember, we've got our Visions card, so let's see what we get. Well, we would have got Vile Beast, and we have got Vile Beast, but we've got to draw another one because of the Omen Blight, and this only had 2 as well. Look at that, it was a nice easy one. I bet our next one isn't. No. Host of Haunts, which has got 5 fate. So we have to discard Vile Beast as per the Omen Blight. So we'll get rid of that. Let's have a look at Host of Haunts. So, ooh, really nice artwork there. So we'd compare to Secrecy. As it is, we're probably going to get rid of this card, but compared to Secrecy, his Secrecy is 5, so that's pretty good. That's not bad. Oh, his Secrecy is 6 actually, so that's good. So that's 4+. So that's Wisps, and they'd be 6 to defend against or 6 to elude. And a failure, you lose 1 Secrecy. The hollow moans and shrieks come from all directions, wrapping you in a numbing dread. But actually, looking at that, that's not too bad, 1 Secrecy. Is it worth using the Visions card? I am having a think here. We could keep the Visions card and have a go at this. We do have a couple of tactics. We've got the Animal Companion, which gives us 2 fight dice, and Camouflage, which gives us 2 elude dice. And it's only 1 Secrecy. That is okay. We will keep our Visions card, right? So forget about exhausting it. We're not going to do it. Seeing what the actual event is, that's not too bad. It's probably because we got it, you know, early on in the game. Yeah, it's lose a grace for ghosts. You know, if our Secrecy had gone down, and if our Secrecy was really down, then it's phantoms and we're losing a turn. But 1 Secrecy, I think we can put up with that. So we won't exhaust Visions. We will actually take this card. And what we'll do is, because we've still got a chance, we can either fight or elude these Wisps. So let's have a look at his cards again. we'll use camouflage. The reason we're going to use camouflage is if we use the animal companion and we fail, then we've got to exhaust that card. But with camouflage, we don't have to exhaust the card. So that'll give us 2 dice, and we just need to get a 6 to elude. So let's put this down there somewhere. And just check, I'll just show you camouflage. So it's a tactic, and we can elude with 2 dice. So that's what we're going to try and do. Because if you look at the animal companion here, we exhaust it if we fail. Well, we don't want to exhaust it, we want to keep it. It's quite a tough test, trying to get 6 with 2 dice. So we'll get 2 dice. Where's my shaker? It's here. And we, might help if I put this in shot. Can we see it? Yes, we can. So we need a 6. Come on! Ooh, a 2 and a 4. Rubbish! So, unfortunately, we have to lose a secrecy, but at least we had a go at it. Yeah, I don't think, all things considered, that was worth using our visions card. So we'll just lose a secrecy. We go down to 5 secrecy. That's okay. Right, we have done the event, so we can get on now with doing a bit of searching, because what we want to do is, we'd like to get a 5+, because then we get 2 extra clues. But if we don't do that, if we get a 4 or better, well, if we get a 4, we will at least search and find something. So that's a single die. I'll take this 4 that we just had before. Let's go. And we get a 4 again. Yay! So unfortunately we didn't get the 2 extra clues, which is a bit of a bummer, but at least we found something. So we'll take a map card and we have a look at the forest. We have got another mystery people. Woohoo! So that is a bit of good luck. Let's just move that. So we've got a bit of good luck. We have got another mystery. Let's pop that there and draw another mystery card. And we get another clue. So that puts us up to 2 clues. Awesome. Timeless Trove. These treasures have been sealed for years beyond memory. It would take a heroic feat to recover that which has been locked away for so long. So this goes to a random area. So we count from the village up here and we just roll a die. So let's get this back and see where this is going to go. A 2. So a 2 from the village is... This goes into the ruins. So Timeless Trove will go into the ruins. Spend 3 sparks, well we haven't got any, and we do it as an action, for 4 clues and an artifact. Then discard this card. This is immense! We've got to get some sparks, quickly! I think you can get sparks by meditating, so let's get meditating. Right, I'll put this into the ruins. There we go. So at least we've managed to get a second mystery, so all is not lost. If we'd got a 5 or a 6 though, we'd have got 2 clues as well. But we've moved on. We're on 2 clues, and yes, not too bad. It's helping to turn around this turn a little bit. Okay, right, so that is it for Thorne. Next up, it is Castigan. And here we are with Castigan. So we've got this active token on him here, and that's to remind us that he has the Prophecy of Fortune. Exhaust at the start of his turn. That hero gains +1 die on all rolls this turn. Focus. There we go. So he's got the Prophecy of Fortune. What else is he going to do? Well, he's going to use his tactic as well. And we're going to save this for when he actually takes the blight on, because he's going to attack a blight. Hopefully he won't get a bad event. I wouldn't like to use it again and have to lose another grace, but you never know. Okay, let's flick that over. So he's got 5 grace, so it's not too bad. And he's got a couple of other powers here that he may be able to use. After all, he could always use Devotion here. and get a few grace back. So yes, we'll see how he goes on. Let's get back to the village and let's crack on. And here we are with Castigan at the village. So he's not with the Necromancer, that's cool. He doesn't have to lose a secrecy. And he has got no powers that have a start of turn effect on them, so he can ignore that as well. So it's straight into the event. So let's see what we get. We get Dark Discharge, which sounds nice. At least it's only 3 fate, so yeah. Let's have a look. -1 on the darkness track. Well, we're at 0, so a fat lot of good dice. Oh, create a blight in your location. Oh, damn it. That, I can see why this is at 3, because you get the -1 on the darkness track, but we're at 0. So that makes it a lot worse than 3 fate. Oh, that is really unlucky. So we create a blight in our location and we get absolutely no benefit either. At first you thought it was just ambient power, but no, there is something here. You know, I'm put him there to try and stop blights, and he's already like got another one. So we need a map card. So village, and we get zombies. Fantastic. Well, that's just brilliant, isn't it? So let's get some zombies. So here are zombies. So if you're defending against them, there are 5. If you try to elude them, there are 3. Obviously the zombies, they're a bit slow and stuff, so it's easier to elude them. But if you fail, you lose a grace. If you're attacking them, at least it's only a 5 to attack them. And again, you lose a grace if you fail. So we've got these now in the village. So that is not good. That isn't good at all. I was hoping to get the village, like, you know, free of blights, but now we've got 2. So I've definitely got to get rid of one of these now. I was going to attack the flux cage, but we may as well attack the zombies because they're a little bit easier, because we only need a 5 or a 6 as opposed to a 6. So we'll do that. We'll better get this in here for our rolling. So we're using, what is it? What's it called? Wrath. So we're going to spend a grace, and that'll put us down to 4 grace, and that gives us 4 dice plus an extra dice because we have got the Oath of Fortune. Sorry, the Prophecy of Fortune. 5 dice. We need a 5. Come on, Castigan, you can do it, mate. Look at that, he got a 6 as well, so we'd have probably beat the flux cage as well. But as it is, we have defeated the zombies. So, phew. Oh, another thing, because we attack the zombies, we do lose a secrecy. So we've lost a secrecy and a, what else? A grace. We've lost a secrecy and a grace there. But, you know, that comes with being the crusader. You're going to lose quite a bit of grace. So at least we have managed to get rid of a blight there. We're back to 1. Ideally, if it hadn't been for that atrocious event, we would have no blights whatsoever in the village. But unfortunately, it wasn't to be. So we've done that. We've lost the secrecy, we've lost the grace, and that is it for his turn. Because, yes, the blight that's left is a flux cage, and we only lose the secrecy if we enter or leave. So we don't have to defend against it, that is fine. Okay, that's another good reason for choosing the zombies to fight. If we'd chosen the flux cage, we'd have to defend against the zombies now. But we've killed them, so we don't have to. Right-o, so that is it for Castigan. That means that next up, yes, it's going to be our friendly neighbourhood Necromancer. I'll be back in a moment. And here we are with the Necromancer. So what do we do on his turn? Well, first of all, we move the darkness up 1. But we're still less than our clues. We've got 2 clues to his 1 darkness, so yeah. No desecration blights on the board, so we only move it up by 1. There are no quests, so we don't have to put any time markers on any quests, that's fine. So now it is movement. Now, looking at everybody's secrecy, there's only Castigan that really is in a bit of a bad way. He's on 3 secrecy, whereas all the others are on 5, so it'd have to be quite a roll by the Necromancer to see the others. Yes, so let's just give a roll. Less than 3 would be good. A 2, fantastic. So he doesn't see anybody, so that's cool. Where does his 2 take him? His 2 will take him into the village anyway, so it doesn't matter. So he goes into the village anyway. That's going to cause us a wee bit of a problem. I did want to keep the crusader there. I mean, he's going to lose another secrecy now when he starts his turn. He could move away. That'd get him a secrecy back. But I do want to get rid of that flux cage. And in fact, because we've moved the Necromancer in there, we're going to get another blight right now. So we might have to keep him there, lose a secrecy. He'll lose another secrecy when he fights a blight. He will definitely have to move the turn after that. But you see what I mean about the Necromancer? He spends a lot of time in the village. With it being a central location, he tends to go in there a lot. We've got to keep the blights down in there. Talking of blights, we've got to pull a blight. So map card. Whoop. And village. This is a bad one. Stigma. It's a red blight. This is going to be really bad. Let me just go and get it. Won't be a moment. Okay, I'm back. Yes, this is a pig. So here we go. Everybody gets -2 to their default grace. Now, that doesn't mean we take 2 grace off everybody. What it does mean, though, is when people do lose grace, when they come to put that grace back on, it's -2 on their default. So if they had a default of 5 grace and they get knocked down to 2, and then they try to get 2 grace back by praying, they'd only be able to get 1. Yeah, because they can only go back up to 3. So we've got to get rid of this baby. These red ones are a real pig. What else is a problem with these is they affect the whole board. So even though this is in the village, it's affecting everybody because it's a red blight and they are grim. Now, fortunately, if we attack it, then it's 5. Yep, so we can, if on a 5 or a 6, we will get rid of it. But if we fail, we will lose a grace. So it's bad. Yeah, we have got to get rid of it. So this goes into the village along with Flux Cage. So we'll put these both in here. And suffice to say, it will be Stigma that Castigan will be trying to get rid of next turn. So yes, he'll lose a secrecy for starting his turn with the Necromancer, and he'll also lose a secrecy attacking the Stigma Blight, which will put him down to a single secrecy. Then he'll go down to 0 secrecy the turn after that. But hopefully the turn after that will be shoving him in the monastery. So he's got a big job coming up next episode, has Castigan. Right, so that's bad. Yeah, that is a really bad blight. We were a bit unlucky there. We got lucky that he didn't spot anybody, but he rolled a 2. If he'd rolled a 1, he would have just gone back into the ruins, and that would have suited us. But him coming to the village, not so good. Okay, we're just going to have to sort something out there. Hopefully Castigan will be able to get rid of that Stigma. Okay, so that is the Necromancer's turn, I think. I don't think there's anything else. Let me check. Nope. So that is it for the Necromancer. And that is it for episode 1 of Darkest Night 2nd edition. So it went okay. We did get 2 mysteries out onto the board. We've got a really good chance of getting some clues. We've got 2 clues already. The darkness is only at 1, but we are beginning to get some nasty blights on the board. Also, Zulana and Vidya lost grace and secrecy. Castigan is losing secrecy hand over fist. And Thorne, unfortunately, though he found that mystery, he wasn't able to get those extra clues by the sacred glade. So that's a bit grim. But close, but no cigar. We've done okay, but it is looking a bit grim. We've got quite a few blights on the board. We did manage to get rid of those zombies, but as I said, these events can be really, really tough. So you can never rest on your laurels in this game. There's a bad event, there's a bad die roll just around the corner, and it can really put you behind. The thing about these blights is they just keep on coming and coming and coming, and you've really got to keep on top of them. Hopefully Castigan will be able to get rid of that stigma, because that is a bad one. That is a really bad one. All the red blights are really bad. We've been a bit unlucky with blights, to be honest. A lot of them, you need a 6 to get rid of them. You know, these flux cages, the omen down in the forest, that void, which needs a 7. The only easy blight we've got is confusion. That's a 4. That's in the swamp. But the skeletons, the webs, and the stigma, you need a 5 or a 6 to beat those. And yes, I think we're going to have to send somebody out as well as Castigan, getting rid of some blights. Perhaps Zulana can get across to the castle there. Perhaps she can get rid of those webs. As far as Vidya goes, I think she'll have another go at actually searching. She won't be able to use her dow's power, it's been exhausted, but she may be able to get another search in the mountains, and then I think what she'll do is she'll look to get back to the monastery, or she'll hide or something and just refresh her powers, I think. But Thorne the druid, he might have to just crack on with getting rid of that omen blight if he can. He can attack with 2 dice because he's got his animal companion, but a 6, again, that's pretty tough. Perhaps he should search again as well. It's always a bad decision. Bad as in, you know, a tricky decision to make, because you've really got to keep on top of the blights. You can't search that much, otherwise, you know, the blights are just going to get away. I'm going to have a real good think about, do we attack a few blights next turn, or do we do some searching? Yes, plenty to think about in this particular game. However, that is it, I think, for episode 1. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for all the views, thanks for all the subscriptions, thanks for all the likes and the dislikes. My serial disliker is back. Thank God. I thought I'd lost you there, mate, but you're back. And but you're still watching. Good on you. And yes, anybody who's been across to Board Game Links to have a look at the videos over there, thank you very much. And the same to everybody who's been across to the video threads on BGG, made a comment, liked, or dropped Geek Gold, anything like that. Thank you so much. As ever, if you've noticed any errors whatsoever, please let me know. As with Mage Knight, I've done a couple of rounds here, so depending on when I made the error, I might not be able to roll it back, but I will certainly do my best to fix anything. So if you spot anything, please drop me a line, put it in the comments, and I will try and sort it out for next episode. Talking of next episode, I hope you join me for episode 2. But until then, this is me, Catweazle, signing off. Toodaloo.